guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'll be covering a prequel story to the pretty popular video series that I covered over the course of several months, which is titled, I Just Learned That My Cousin is Marrying a Party Gal Who I Repeatedly Hooked Up With 2 years ago. And guys, as a recap, that was about the guy who wrote in back in early February. He was coming home for a wedding for his cousin, and while getting together, saw a picture of the girl he was marrying. It turns out he hooked up with her a couple of years ago on New Year's Eve and a few other days. And he wrote in asking me, should I let my cousin know? And of course I said yes. And that turned out to a whole multi-part series about him letting the cousin know, the cousin being heartbroken, getting rid of that girl, the whole big giant mess. And ultimately, we, both me and the community here through our advice, helped save the guy from marrying a train wreck. Well, this video here is the cousin writing in. He's finally wrote in about his situation, his story, how he met the girl, what was going on behind the scenes is quite interesting here. And this, what I like about this is this guy writing in, he's very honest about where he went wrong. And this guy could have been a lot of us, where he had, growing up, he was overweight. In fact, he described himself as very overweight. Didn't get attention from girls, lost the weight, but when he started getting attention, he didn't know what to do with it because he had no experience. And obviously got together with this girl, had no idea she could treat him this way, and off you go. So it's quite the story here, but our guy here is now on a second chance in life, and it's great to hear. So there's a lot to learn from him here, and I hope you guys encourage him, even though there's many smackable moments here. And this guy's going to be okay. So it's definitely worth your time here, and hopefully in the future, he'll write in letting us know how he's greatly improved. But our guy here, no matter what the mistakes he made, remember, he's the one that got rid of that girl. So it starts off, says here, hey, SSM. So I too decided to write into you after my cousin suggested writing my incident to you. I am the cousin whose story you have been narrating, who was foolishly in a relationship with a cheater and a liar for 4.5 years. Well, bro, you have a lot of company because lots of guys sadly have been in situations in varying degrees like you. You're not alone. Now, you said in his last video to send in a story how I was growing up. Well, as you know, my cousin, we will call him Victor, fake names of course, mentioned I was chubby growing up. But that is him being polite. I was not chubby, I was fat. Plain fat. Slow in sports, always the punchline for everybody before you open your mouth, that was me. Dude, that's very tough. But you overcame that, which was great. And we'll get more into that in a second here, which means you can overcome all this. I was good in the studies, good in school. I didn't think I was ugly, but what's underneath never matters if the outside isn't perfect. So I was often made fun of by others. Then growing up, there was this girl in high school, intelligent, top of the class, and I had a crush on her. A big crush. I never talked to her that much, but then one day I had this brilliant idea to go ahead and propose to her, so I did. I proposed not face to face, but typed it on Facebook. You proposed to her on Facebook? Smack! Are you out of your mind? It's bad enough that you were thinking about doing that, but actually do it on social media where everybody can see this? Yeah, my man, you need help. Good God. I proposed, blah, 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 and an hour later her reply came into me, have you seen your face, fatso? Ouch. And she blocked me, made me the laughing stock of the whole school. Well, that was me. A fat F-U-C-K dared to propose to this girl, and that too on Facebook, not face-to-face. Well, that should have been common sense not to do that, but, you said you were good in school, but the common sense was lacking in that story, my man. Ouch. Well, you do something stupid like that, you should learn from it, and watch what this guy does. Well, I never dared to talk or to approach her after that. I was embarrassed and ashamed. To the date, I remember her insult word to word. I carried that with me for years. It told me that I wasn't allowed to want anyone unless I was perfect. And so, I did what I should have done earlier. I joined a gym, adjusted my diet, got a personal trainer after begging my dad for money until I started a part-time job, and began to cover the trainer's fees on my own. It took time, but I lost my weight, got myself in shape, where I actually started to get noticed. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Yeah, did that boneheaded thing on Facebook to that girl because of a dare, and that was a stupid dare. Yeah, your whole life you were overweight. Fat, as you said. You took action. You had something in you. A lot of people wouldn't do that. So that tells me you can get through this mess you're in. I'm proud of you, man. Well, I had my first relationship after that transformation. It was not long. She moved away for studies and said she wasn't interested in a long-distance relationship, and that is bound to fail. Dude, that girl was doing you a favor. A massive favor. Being the guy I was back then, I told her at least to give it a try. By the way, long distance was also my idea, and yes, I know the smacking's coming. Yeah, smack! Long distance don't work, but I'm sure you know that now. So that ended there because she did not agree with me. Then a year later, I met my now ex-fiancee. Okay, here we go. We're getting into the dirty stuff here. Let us call her Amber. That's an appropriate name. She felt warm, beautiful, and had a sweet smile. We met at a friend's gathering. Nothing special, just a small dinner to mark somebody's birthday. The kind of event you go to more out of obligation than excitement. I remember standing in the corner, nursing a glass of something that I didn't even want when I heard her laugh. Well, we saw each other. She smiled at me, and I smiled back. We spoke later that night. Not the awkward small talk, but usually have for strangers. But a conversation, and for some reason, she was easy to talk to. And that night, we exchanged numbers, and then after a while, and more conversations about everything and anything, we started dating. So, obviously, this guy's confidence improved after he lost all that weight. Good for him. First girlfriend fizzled after the long-distance thing didn't work out. But at least, But our guy here, when he now meets his now ex-fiancée, didn't have a whole lot of experience. And a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of experience, when a pretty girl starts paying attention and actually wanting to date him, all common sense, if he has any, goes right out the door. And you become kissing her butt, trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, acting like the guys do in the movies, and you know where that gets you. Well, then after 3 months, we became exclusive. I bet you're the one that asked her to be exclusive. I was in full bellied mode, and she was the one who'd stay because she didn't care how I would become awkward sometimes while talking, or some other weird, very silly jokes I would crack. I asked my cousin Victor where I went wrong, and how did this come to this? And he told me that I must have ignored red flags, which I shouldn't have, and now looking back, he is exactly right. Brother, I guarantee you ignored lots of red flags. He's going to mention a bunch of things here that is obvious to us, but to a lot of guys, they don't know. But again, I want to really make something clear, guys. This guy's story could be a lot of you guys, if you're honest with yourselves, who never got any attention. The first pretty girl pays attention to you in your 20s, because you obviously at that point start having some resources, a job, and you're thinking, oh, the movies were right, and you don't know what to do around her. And you ignore all her bad behavior because you kid yourself thinking that it's a good thing going. But you can't let that happen, guys. And I guarantee you this girl could tell immediately that our guy here is a nice guy, was going to see her as a prize, put her on the pedestal. And girls like this, as you're going to see, will get together with guys like this because, okay, he can be my boyfriend, the type of guy, the nice guy provider. The guy she'd marry when she finishes up or takes a break from her hoe phase and can provide her a nice life, give her a wedding, but has her fun on the side. It happens. A lot. If you call ignoring that gut feeling that something is wrong, ignoring red flags, or ignoring her behavior, then I really ignored it. Not once or twice, but every single time. I think you willingly ignored things, bro. Well, she would cancel plans on me at the last minute, without much explanation. Sometimes she'd go silent for a whole evening, only to return with a vague, busy, sorry, and a change of subject. When I'd ask a direct question to her, she had a way of smiling, leaning in, and making me feel silly for even asking. So she'd treat you like a freaking second-class citizen, as you can clearly see. And you would just, she'd smile and cuddle with you, and you just would let it go. As a pushover, as a typical nice guy. Do you think canceling plans at the last minute, or taking hours to respond to you by text by 2-word answers, is the actions of somebody that really is into you? Of course not. But back then, you just ignored it because this pretty girl's paying attention to you. And I'm willing to bet you that you weren't getting a whole lot of very exciting stuff in the bedroom. I'm sure you got the bare minimum. If you got BJs, it was probably every great once in a while. Like, okay, I got to do this to get the freaking wedding ring from him. I'm being honest, man. During COVID times, often there would be times when I would text her and she would reply to me about 4 or 5 hours later. The longest being 15 or 16 hours. Yes, my memory is strong. And I told myself it was nothing. Smack! Problem is, you don't have anything to base this on. You know, this is a girl in your 20s that you're getting serious with, and you don't know any better. It should be common sense, but common sense goes right out the door when a guy has a pretty girl and doesn't know what to do with himself. Everyone has bad days. Everybody needs space, I would tell myself. And her girls' nights out, where she would come home drunk late at night, I swept that all under the rug, not thinking much of it, convincing myself I was just being paranoid. Smack! You weren't being paranoid. You knew something was wrong, but you didn't stand up, or at least you tried to stand up for yourself, but she knew how to sweet talk you, you know? She had your number the second she met you at that party, dude. Remember, I tell you guys, when women are ready, they can literally scan the room for a nice guy the way the Terminator scans the room for Sarah Connor. Boom, she knew. End of story. Although I would show my disappointment to her, she would apologize, promising not to do it again, or sometimes she even got defensive that I was prying too much into her private life. She did that because she knew you'd take it. That's why. Meanwhile, she was hooking up with dudes that wouldn't take it. SSM, I've been an inconvenience to many growing up. That became a thing. I didn't want to be inconvenienced to her or the jealous type, a boyfriend who doubts and does not believe his own girlfriend, because what is a relationship without trust? Yeah, you can have a relationship without trust, and her actions have shown you that you can't trust her, but you couldn't let her go. I know now what a colossal mistake that was. My gut whispered something was off, but the part of me that was tired of being an inconvenience whispered louder, don't ruin this, don't overthink it. After dating 1 year and 2 months, I proposed to her and she accepted. Smack! 14 months, a year and 2 months, are you out of your mind? You barely know her, and you're proposing to her after the way she treats you? But again, guys, and we're here to learn things. To him, this is the only girl who's really paid the best he's ever had. He ain't gonna mess that up. She was overjoyed, or at least she looked overjoyed, and I was overjoyed too, being the naive fool that I was. You asked me where I was that New Year's Eve when she was in the party, where she cheated on me with Victor. Well, let me tell you, I wasn't even aware that she was at some New Year's party. New Year's Eve you're not spending with your fiancé? What kind of fucking relationship is this? My God, brother. She told me a few days earlier that New Year's that her mom was ill and she needs to check in on her. Her mom was really ill because I too checked in on her though she never told me she had any plans of going out New Year's Eve. I had asked her and she refused, saying she's not in the mood. Yeah, she's not in the mood because she wanted to go out with her girlfriends and hook up with other guys, where she met your cousin. It's the craziest freaking story, but you know, these things happen. Good Lord, man. And by the way, she was excited when you proposed to her. She's probably like, yes, I got this sucker who's going to pay for me my whole life, and then I can have fun and divorce him and take him for everything he has. She's evil. There's a lot of evil women out there. So when my cousin Victor revealed about the New Year's part, you can imagine how I felt. Actually, when Victor told me about them in the cafe, where he made me see your video for the first time, my first instinct was to punch Victor very hard, despite knowing that a guy like him would drop me in a second, and my punch probably wouldn't even be able to land. No one could blame you for being upset, but Victor, your cousin who told you, did a brave thing. He told you because I told him to tell you. I mean, he wanted to do it, but I affirmed it was a good idea because you deserve to know. And I wouldn't go punching a combat veteran. That would not go too well for you, brother. What would probably happen is you'd probably punch him, he would just move out of the way, and you'd fall on your ass and look like a jackass. But nobody can blame you for being upset. I was in total disbelief, hurt, angry, which just grew even more when he showed me the proof. The Instagram chats that he told me that he didn't know, that he had he known, he would never have entertained the idea of hooking up with her. I was angry, but at least a part of me already believed him. There was no reason for him to lie. He shared the chats with me and told me to observe for a few days before confronting Amber, as who knows, as she still may be cheating. Well, you have all the information you need to know. You don't need to wait and observe her quietly. Time to end it with her. Well, I was in no mood to hang back and observe. The rage I felt at that moment was too much, and I didn't need any other proof. So I confronted her the moment she came home from wherever she was. She is jobless, so not at work, of course. I confronted her, and she lied straight to my face, and even got angry at me for throwing baseless accusations 3 weeks before the wedding. Of course she lies right to your face. She's been lying to you for years. Why should she act any different? She's just a despicable human being. And by the way, why is she jobless? Why doesn't she have a job? Is she going to school or something? Probably not. Again, she's probably excited when you propose to her because she's thinking, I never have to work again because this guy is going to support me. Am I right? Well, I showed her my cousin's photo and asked her if she knows him. Well, her eyes widened for a second, which didn't go unnoticed, and she claimed that Victor was somehow some guy she met at the gym who was the creep who would not leave her alone. More like she wouldn't leave him alone, hence the multiple hookups. Even when she told him that she had a boyfriend, had she known he was my cousin, she would have told me right then and there. Then she told me that he is now only trying to make a mess of this because he is single, doesn't have a girlfriend, and is probably jealous. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, your cousin, who is a officer in the army, who's in his prime, who probably have no problems getting girls, is jealous about not having a girlfriend and jealous not getting married. Really? That's what she's trying to say? Please. Honestly, I lost it on her. I yelled at her that just to what extent she will lie to me. I yelled at whether she knows he's an army officer and how pathetic she sounded calling him jealous, while being the one who wasted no time climbing to his bed, not once, but 5 times in 2 weeks. Yep, that's what Victor said to us back, I think, in episode 1 or 2. They met on New Year's, or they met at the gym. Then I guess they ran into each other at a party. I guess they exchanged information, hooked up multiple times. Then he was gone. And all while remembering that story, he had no idea because he and the cousin here weren't super close then. I then pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots, which finally shut her down. Her excuses, her accusations, everything, and then the tears came out. Of course the tears came out. After, of course, she was lying to your face. Because she figured it worked before. Her assumption was that you're a big simp. You're a nice guy. You'll fall for it. And, well, let's be honest here. Your actions have, you were a simp. But you're not anymore, I hope. Well, other days I would fall for her tears, but not that day. I gave her only 2 hours to pack up her crap and get lost. When I came back 2 hours later, I better not see her again, and if anything of mine was broken or lost, I would involve the police, and then I left. Good for you, bro. Sorry you went through that. It's terrible, but again, just like with the whole fiasco in high school with your Facebook proposal, which was crazy and stupid, you use that pain to find your strength, and your strength here is kicking her the hell out. I'm glad you didn't fall for her crap. Well, 2 hours later, when I returned, she was gone. A few days later, Victor came to visit me as I hadn't picked up his phone at all. And I know he said I was not happy to see him, but it was not like that. I just didn't want to meet or talk to anybody at that time. However, talking to him did feel better. Lately, through your video, I got to know about what my sister, call her Jessica, was doing to Victor. I confronted my sister why she was being a pain to Victor. He has just done what any family member should have done, and she told me that I did not understand. The way he handled the situation was not good. We made both the families look like fools. We destroyed Amber's reputation and whatnot. Your sister, quote-unquote Jessica, codenamed Jessica, is a giant a-hole. Really? It's Victor and your fault because of how this thing went down? It's your ex Amber's fault because your ex is a giant cheater and liar, manipulator. That's the reason the engagement ended, while the wedding is called off weeks in advance. And damaged your reputation. Your ex damaged your reputation, not you guys. But this is how women think. Blame it all on the guy. What kind of sister would do this to her brother? I know now she's dead to you, and she'd be dead to me if she was my sister. I shut that down immediately, asking whose side was she on, and she said, of course, my side, but things could have been handled differently. Yeah, really? I repeated Victor's words to her that if she wanted me to first marry her, then have kids, find out later she was cheating on me, divorce, and lose mental peace, lose money, lose the house. Just what the hell was she on about? My sister told me to do whatever I felt was right. The typical woman thing. Do whatever you want. I told my sister to stop bothering Victor because he did not deserve all the crap he was getting from everyone. There was a time when my sister's bond with Victor was good. Sometimes I felt like I was the cousin and they were the siblings. Then a year before my sister's marriage, they stopped talking to each other actually. Victor had cut all contact with her. Jessica once told me that he should get a woman like her, and he replied as a joke that he would rather get caught in Afghanistan or Iraq and get tortured than getting a woman like her. Well, he had her number. This set her off completely, and she threw a giant tantrum. insulted Victor, called him names, and told him to drop dead. It was messy, and our parents got involved. Drama, drama, drama. Well, Victor didn't fight, but after that day, he distanced himself. He did not attend her wedding, did not care when she was divorced. He only came once in 3 years when my grandma passed away, and then also he left the day after her funeral. That time my sister approached him to talk, but he was polite but distant. Didn't engage with her more than a minute. I guess maybe that was one reason she was trying to get on his nerves, to get a reaction out of him on this matter. Do you guys notice the part when he said that his sister got married and got divorced pretty quickly? Big surprise there. Then came the day I received a message from my ex that she wants to meet, and this time I agreed. Smack! Why the hell, I said this in the last video when Victor wrote in, do you meet with your ex? All she's going to try to do is her last-ditch Hail Mary effort to get you to take her back. The waterworks, the drama, and all that. However, at least it revealed from her what my sister was doing. My sister knew everything and hid it from me. Victor in his emails to you kept the whole thing PG. I did call her names. I never thought I would be calling my own sister. I did not confront her. I totally lost it on her. I told her that she is dead to me, and I don't think I will ever forgive her for what she did. If you guys all recall, his sister knew all along, at least most of the time, that his now ex-fiancee was cheating on him and didn't tell him. That's unforgivable. Done. I have nothing to do with her. Even if your parents beg you one day to, rekindle your relationship for them, your parents are going to pull the do it for us crap. Don't do it. He says, do you ever look back at something and just want to smack your past self in the face? Yes, brother. There have been many things I like to go back in the past and smack myself. Well, that's me right now. And Victor, I'm grateful to him. He didn't have to tell me. He could have kept quiet and avoided all this drama, but he did not. And yeah, it was a gut punch, but it saved me from a much worse life. So, bro, thank you so much for pulling me out when you did. So, yeah, this is my story, SSM. Sorry if it's long, but it just felt like writing it all out to you. The end. So, guys, there you go. That is the cousin's point of view. And you can see, just like so many, his story could have been like so many of yours if you're honest with yourselves in varying degrees. So many guys out there to get no attention from girls when they're younger. They wish they did. They see all the pretty girls going off with the a-holes and the bad boys and the jocks, and they're not getting any attention, little attention if any. And finally they get older. Maybe they improve in some way. Then they start getting attention thinking, I found my girl. The movies are right. And yet these guys have no experience, and they are eaten alive, just like this. And of course, not every story is going to be this extreme, but it happens. Bro, you are at a crossroads in your life now. You have strength in you. You made a lot of mistakes, but you've strengthened you. When you were humiliated by that girl, by you doing that dumbass thing on Facebook, you decided to take action, and you lost weight. You joined the gym, did the hard work, transformed yourself, and that was awesome. When you found this out, although hurt, you kicked Amber to the curb like that, and it's over. You have strengthened you. You can improve. So I highly recommend going forward, because I do believe, like I said, you're in your mid to late 20s. You got your whole life ahead of you. Your prime hasn't even begun yet. I want you to keep going to the gym. If you've taken a break from the gym for a while, being depressed and all, no one can blame you. Get back to the gym. If you got to get a trainer to give you a kick in the ass, get the trainer again. It'll help you. Have a healthy diet, get back in shape physically, and go back to doing things you enjoy, your hobbies, your interests, hanging out with people that care about you, that truly do care about you, and have no relationships for a while. I wouldn't even date for a while. You need to be on your own, really reflecting everything. And I would frankly immerse yourself in my videos. I got like 4,000 videos between all three channels. Check them out. I would use this channel specifically, and I would look for video titles that are similar to your situation. And I know it'll be hard to listen to stories that are similar because you're going to feel like a jackass and betrayed. Old feelings will come up, but you got to go through the pain to grow. And every time you watch a video or hear a story or read something that is similar and you can see where they go wrong, you have been learning. And this way it doesn't happen to you again. And it's going to take a long time to shake that nice guy skin off, to rewire the nice guy programming. And the self-doubt and all that crap, you'll get there. It'll take time, but you'll get there. Because I don't want you to go through this shit ever again. Because you're a relationship guy. Because if you don't make the change and figure out where you went wrong and change the wiring, if you will, You'll be right back in this situation in 5 years, in 10 years. I don't want that to happen to you. And your cousin Victor, give him a big thanks because he really helped you out. Because he wrote to me, because you saw this, he wasn't sure what to do. And I made sure, and all the guys in the comment section told him, you got to tell this guy. It was a very tough situation. He was damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, but he did it anyway. So, man, you can do it. Take it one day at a time. You're going to be all right. And do not buy any of the shaming that your ex and her friends and her family, anybody else is going to try to do. I do not think this will be the last time you hear from your ex. She's going to try again. Don't fall for it. And I don't think you will. So, man, I really appreciate you writing in. You're going to be okay. And maybe down the road, 6 months from now, a year, and things are improving, let me know how you're doing. I will absolutely just make note of it in the title of the email so I know it's you. And I'll bump it up. And if you're not doing it for you, do it for me. Do it for the community here. The guys listening to this, there are guys right now, I guarantee, are going through something like this right now. One way or another, been cheated on, hurt. They want to hear a guy like you, who's like them, got past this shit, improved himself. That will be, some guy will hear your story here and hear from you in 6 months to a year that you improved yourself and you're doing better. That will give them the strength to move on. And that's the whole point of this channel, this community here, to help guys out. So, man, go for it and you're going to be all right. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.